The fluorescent lights hummed softly above the open-plan office of Holt and Rayner, casting a pale glow over neat rows of desks and bustling employees. It was a Thursday morning, typically slow, but today, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. The source? Sarah Clark. You are not serious, Marcus chuckled, leaning back in his chair, a coffee cup clutched between his hands. Sarah, the center of the room's attention, grinned. I swear. I told the barista it was my dog's birthday, and they gave me a free puppuccino and a cupcake. Laughter rippled through the team. It was impossible not to smile when Sarah did. Her energy was infectious, sunshine in human form. She was the one who remembered birthdays, stayed late to help with projects, and brought extra snacks just in case someone skipped breakfast. You're the only person who can charm a coffee out of someone for your dog, said Jenna, nudging her playfully. Charm is a gift, Sarah replied with a wink. But as the team dispersed back to their screens and tasks, Sarah's smile faltered. She walked briskly to her desk, slipping into her chair with a deep breath. Her fingers trembled slightly as she tapped at her keyboard. Hidden behind that ever-present smile was something none of them saw, a weight pressing harder every day. Sarah checked her calendar. Another meeting with HR, routine review, they called it. But she knew better. She opened a folder on her desktop labeled innocuously as Q4 presentation drafts. Inside, nested deep, was a password-protected file, ND_last days. As she stared at the blinking cursor, Sarah whispered to herself, almost ready. The break room had always been a safe haven, half-warm coffee, stale cookies, and half-hearted small talk. But today, it brimmed with something else. Tension. Jenna leaned in closer to Marcus. She was crying. I swear, I walked in and heard it. She covered it up, but her eyes were red. Maybe she's just tired, Marcus shrugged. She's always going above and beyond. Probably burned out. No, Jenna whispered. It's more than that. She looked, scared. Back at her desk, Sarah stared blankly at her screen. Her email inbox blinked with unread messages. None of them mattered. Only one message consumed her thoughts, a draft sitting unsent for weeks. Subject line, to whom it may concern, the truth about Natalie Duncan. Natalie. The name no one said anymore. She had been part of the team a year ago. Bright, driven, a bit of a loner, but Sarah liked her. And then one day, Natalie was gone. An email from HR said she had left for personal reasons. No one questioned it. No goodbye party. No farewell lunch. Just gone. But Sarah knew what Natalie had told her. The late-night messages. The fear. The accusations. She knew something was wrong. The company's monthly all-hands meeting was typically a mix of lukewarm coffee, boring metrics, and polite clapping. But today, it was different. Sarah stood at the front, hands clasped tightly, her face pale but determined. Before we begin, she said, her voice louder than usual, I need to say something. People glanced at one another. Whispers began to rise. She held up a piece of paper. I know what happened to Natalie Duncan. Silence. The room froze. Even the air seemed to still. Sarah unfolded the paper, her hand steady now. I have copies of emails. Voice memos. Security footage. Diaries. All proving what she went through. And how this company ignored it. A murmur spread like wildfire. For a year, I stayed silent. I smiled. I did my job. But not anymore. Natalie came to me before she disappeared. She told me everything. And I promised I'd make it right. Someone stood. It was Alan, the head of HR. Sarah, we can discuss this privately. No, she said firmly. Everyone deserves to hear this. The aftermath was chaos. HR tried to take her offline, but the damage was done. Sarah had already uploaded the files to a public drive. Journalists picked up the story within hours. The evidence was damning. Natalie had reported harassment, repeatedly. She had begged for help. Instead, she was gaslit, silenced, and slowly isolated. Emails showed leadership burying complaints. One exec even wrote, "We can't let this get out, it'll ruin us." Sarah's recordings painted a chilling picture. Natalie sobbing, saying she felt unsafe. A manager promising to take care of it, and doing nothing. Investigations launched. Shareholders demanded answers. Executives resigned. And in the middle of the storm stood Sarah, no longer the cheerful girl with the sunny smile, but a warrior who had held her pain in silence for too long. She visited Natalie's family. Gave them her files. Her apology. Her truth. Natalie had taken her own life 6 months after leaving the company. Sarah had found out only recently. The guilt was unbearable. But her voice was finally heard. The office felt like a graveyard now. Quiet. Somber. Sarah packed her things into a cardboard box. Framed photos. A stress ball. A coffee mug that read "Good vibes only." She looked around one last time. The break room was empty. No more whispered rumors. Jenna approached her. "You were brave. I just wish it didn't cost you everything." "It didn't," Sarah replied. "It cost me a lie. I can live with the truth." As she walked out of Holt & Rainer for the last time, reporters called her name. She didn't stop. In her bag was a new job offer, from a nonprofit focused on workplace ethics. Sarah Clark was no longer just the girl who smiled. She was the woman who spoke the truth when no one else dared. And the world listened.